Good morning, everyone. Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord here, checking out the forecast as we march on through the end of the week and getting into the weekend. So a lot of things to pay attention to as we make our way towards the weekend. Some changes on the way. We got looking a little farther out, you got the Husker game day forecast as well. As a matter of fact, let's just start with that for right now, and we can talk about what's on the way with this because obviously, to be expected, models differ quite a bit this far out. And what I'm leaning on here with this is probably the warmer end of the option. I think we could be well into the 80s to near 90 down at Arrowhead Stadium during the day for this Husker game between them and Cincinnati. But the game doesn't start till 8 o'clock, so likely in the 80s, cooling off into the 70s pretty quickly. Here's the deal, though. You may see some cooler numbers on other forecasts, different apps. They are leaning towards a model that hasn't been doing great lately. And so I lean towards the one that's been performing better here in the short term and seeing if the warm air likely holds on. Like I think it's going to rebound pretty quickly next week. Now, here's the deal. If the forecast trends cooler for that Husker game down in Lincoln or down in Kansas City, it's not going to be because of a cooler air mass. It's going to be because of a thick layer of clouds and increasing rain chances. That would be the reason it cools down. So if it does trend cooler, that means the odds for rain likely go up during this game and before. So that would lead to more of a soggy situation down at Arrowhead Stadium rather than a hot and humid one. So that's the what to watch. Some models do really sock in the clouds for this game, and they also produce quite a bit of rain. I think that's going to stay to the southwest for a good chunk of the day. We'll see how it goes, though, as we get a little closer in the forecast to that game. Right now, though, you got quite a bit of sunshine out there. Interesting of note, you see right up here, the little wave clouds. Those are called Kelvin-Helmholtz wave clouds. Don't see those too often. That's kind of neat, off in the distance there. As we start to warm up a little bit. We've been near 70 degrees a good chunk of the morning. Now we're climbing up to 77 so far here for the 10 o'clock hour. A little bit of a southeast breeze, couple of clouds out there. Overall, the satellite picture pretty quiet. Steamy conditions were in the play yesterday, and now we've dropped off a little bit anyway. So if you need to get to yard mode today or tomorrow, just do anything outdoors. You're going to sweat a little more doing it today and tomorrow. By Saturday and Sunday, it looks a lot better, more enjoyable to be outside as we go through the course of the weekend and beyond. But some pretty good pool days today and tomorrow. You got a high up into the low 90s today. You're getting low 90s on Friday as well, ahead of any thunderstorms. Most of those should be after 5 o'clock if there's going to be storms on Friday. So that's what we're watching for in the short term, is mostly heat and humidity. You can see some fair weather clouds bubbling up, getting into the low 90s today, and then slowly cooling back. By 7 o'clock, we're upper 80s for most of the area. But we want to focus on the storm chance that we have in play as we get a little closer to Friday night. This is the latest risk area. That's that storm chance after 5 o'clock Friday night. Wind and hail potential, but it's a pretty low risk. A minimal 1 out of 5 on the scale, where we could have some wind gusts and some hail from a storm or two. And that is pretty much it from those. I think there could be half a dozen storms on the map, maybe 2 or 3 of those trying to produce some severe weather with 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts for a few of us, and maybe some 1-inch diameter hail as well. Right now the tornado risk looks pretty low, so I'm not all that concerned about it. But 3-day forecast shows where we are going beyond that, the cooler 80s on the way. Now, we look at the latest forecast trends for that time frame heading into Friday night. You can see not much on models by 5, but then we go deeper into the evening, and this model's a little bit lackluster with any production, but I think any of those clouds could produce some scattered thunderstorms. You can see models waffling a little bit. That's why we only kept the chances at about 40% and did not make it a first alert 6 weather day. I think the coverage of these is going to be the biggest issue. And then as we go a little deeper into the evening, I think they move out pretty quick as well. So that change, or that front, will bring changes beyond it with highs in the 80s and a big dip in the dew points on the muggy meter. Refreshing and pleasant weather starting this weekend, lasting through a good chunk of next week, at least for the first half anyway. Look what it does for those overnight lows. They're going to dip down into the 50s Sunday, a high of 56, Monday in the low 50s, and even Tuesday as well. Could have some 40s on the map when you're talking temperatures that cool in the morning hours. In the metro, gets a little bit cooler outside the city. A little bit of a north breeze on Saturday to bring that cooler air in. Sunday, we'll climb to near 80 with more clouds. Monday looks like the coolest day with a high of 76, and then 79 on Tuesday with 80s returning. One thing about cooler air masses, drier air masses this time of year, they'll rebound quicker on the back edge of this. So I think we can get back into the 80s pretty quickly beyond it. Usually this cooler air, like I mentioned, is drier, and sometimes those afternoon highs can jump even farther than what model data is telling us, just because of how well the atmosphere mixes out, and because the dry air heats up a lot easier than the more humid air. So that is something to watch with this trend. But even as you go beyond that into the cooler, into the early part of September, cooler than average winds out for many of the days, and that is what most of us on the eastern half of the country will be dealing with, except if you're along the Gulf Coast essentially. So that could be a pretty pleasant start to September as well, get you in that fall feel as we head towards the early part of September. Overall though, the last week of August is looking really good as of right now. So don't forget about the storm chance Friday night. We'll keep an eye on that as we march through. And we'll see what can develop with any severe potential. But right now it doesn't look like anything all that widespread or intense. But that will be the next round we are watching. Doing a quick little update for you if you're on the app, on our YouTube channel. That's where we're at the moment. And we will keep you posted with the latest on the forecast as this evolves.